How to plan your training. This is a question we get all the time from players and parents, and it's crucial to becoming the best cricketer you can be. If you don't maximise your time at training and have a purpose, you aren't going to become the best player you can be. We see so many athletes who just go through the motions and they might be physically at training, but they're not getting the most out of their session. If you want to maximise your training so that you can be the best player you can be, you have to plan and be structured. You have to think about all the areas that you want to work on and then plan your session so that you are ticking each and every box. For a batter, it could look like this. You want to do your front foot fundamentals. You want to do your back foot fundamentals. You want to practice your decision making. You want to practice facing spin, and you want to practice your power hitting. Those are the 5 core areas you want to train and continue to get better at. And to get good at them, you need to really make sure you're doing them all regularly. And to do that, you need to have a plan. You need to have structure around your sessions. So to use your training time the most effectively that you can, you need to follow this 4-step process. Step 1, you need to set some goals. You need to think about what it is you want to be good at, and that formulates your training plan. Step 2, you need to set a plan of when you're going to do what. You can't do everything at once, so you need to create a plan around when you're going to do each of the things you want to get good at. Step 3, you need to get in the nets and into your session and actually practice. And step 4, you then need to reflect and review and learn from each session and then tweak your plan as necessary. So goal setting. I think it's really important for any athlete to really understand what they want to be or where they want to get to. And when you have a clear vision of that, you can start to then formulate your plan of how to get there. So if you're a young batter, it might be that you want to improve your forward defence, or it might be that you want to learn the scoop shot or improve your sweep shot. So you need to set some goals. Now, everyone wants to be the absolute ultimate player, the best you can be at everything, but you need to set some realistic goals for the short term, and that will then formulate your plan, and then that formulates your training so to achieve those goals that you set out. Now, I'm sure you want to be the ultimate cricketer, play all the shots and have every shot that you see the great players, but to be the best, you have to break it down into smaller, manageable chunks in the short term. So what that looks like is deciding on 2, 3 or 4 things that you want to improve in the next 3 to 6 months, and really making a plan of how to achieve those things. For a young player, it might be able to keep out the best ball from the bowler, improve your forward defence, or it might be able to learn the reverse sweep, or learn the lap shot or the scoop. And then, once you've set your goals, you can move into creating a plan of how to achieve those goals. And remember that you can't become an overnight success. You can't do everything in one off season or one season. The greatest players are 25, 30, 35 years old, and they've been training their whole life. And it's consistent action that makes the difference. It's putting in the work day after day, week after week, year after year, that makes them the finished product that you see on TV. So if you're young and you're watching this, don't expect to achieve everything and be everything right now. Pick a few things that you think will help you next season in your sort of what's coming next in your cricket, or what you want to improve now. And then you start really working hard at those things. And when you get better at those things that you're picking, then you can start to tick them off and move on to something else. So pick 2 to 4 things that you want to improve. They're your goals for the short term, and then you can start setting a plan. Step 2 is you've now got your goals. You want to create a plan of how to achieve those goals. Now, planning is about looking at your calendar, looking at your schedule, and writing out what you're going to do when. So the what you've got, I want to improve my 2 to 4 things. I want to improve my forward defence. I want to learn the scoop shot or the ramp shot. I want to improve my reverse sweep. There's 3 things. Now you need to look at when. How many sessions are you going to do per week? And what resources do you have available to you? Can you get into the nets? Do you have a bowling machine? Do you have your parent throwing to you? Do you have a mate? What resources do you have, and when are you going to train? Once you understand those 3 things, what you want to do or what you want to achieve, what resources you have, and when you're able to do your sessions, then you can plan each and every session. On Monday, I'm going to do my daily vitamins, my fundamentals, and improve my forward defence. On Wednesday when I hit, I'm going to practice just the sweep shot. And on Friday when I train, I'm going to practice my scoop and my front foot defense. So there, you're setting your structure, you're setting a plan, and hopefully you can review your plan before every session, and you've got a real clear purpose of what you're trying to get out of that session. Now, you might decide to do everything each time you train. So it all depends how often you're training, how long you're training for. Obviously, the more you train, the better you get, but you want to have a purpose. You want to train hard, but you want to train smart. I would much rather young players watching this train 4 times a week for 45 minutes, and all 45 minutes each session is fully engaged with a real purpose, than training twice a week for 3 hours, where hour 2 and hour 3 really drop off in terms of skill, the body gets tired, the mind gets tired, and the standards drop off significantly. So really encourage you, when you're planning to try and do it more often, I think if you can do a little bit every day or close to every day, that's how you get repetition, that's how your body gets used to what it's doing, rather than a lot on one day and having a big break in between days. But in saying that, you've got to make sure you're using your downtime to recover well, so that you can come back to your training, into your session, fully recovered, ready to go again, and give it everything you've got physically and mentally. Now, step 3, the most important part, is that you actually put the work in. Now, this is where you're going to get into the nets or into a center wicket or wherever you have identified you can do your training. Some of you watching this, you might not have nets, you might not have the ability to have someone to throw to you, you might just be throwing a ball against the wall, but this is where you put the work in and you execute the plan that you've set out. You execute what you said you're going to do. You don't just rock up and say, what do I feel like doing today? It's about having a purpose, and hopefully if you followed step 2 in this process, you've created a plan. Now you're just looking at your calendar, looking at your schedule, looking at your diary and saying, right, today I'm working on my forward defense and I'm going to hit 50 sweeps at the end of my session. Or I'm going to work on my forward defense, I'm going to hit 50 scoop shots at the end of my session. You're following your plan. You can either break it down even more in your planning phase, where you talk about, I'm going to practice my forward defense and these are the 3 key things I'm going to focus on in my forward defense. I'm going to practice the scoop shot or the reverse sweep. These are the 3 key things I'm going to really focus on when playing those shots or learning or doing those shots. So step 3, get into your session, execute, and now don't just play on feel. I think you want to really try and follow a structure. I think some people will sort of talk about they'll finish when they feel good, but I think that can be a bit tricky, especially if you're a young player. Some balls might feel good, some might not. So don't overdo it. Like I've said before, I think it's best to not train too long so that your standards drop off. It's better to be in the nets consistently, more regularly, but for shorter periods of time, and make sure everything you do is quality as well as quantity. Step 4, reflect and review. Now, I say that experience plus reflection equals learning. And what I really hope that you watching this are able to do is learn from every experience that you have. Now, a training session is an experience that you can learn from. A match is an experience that you can learn from. But you will not learn if you don't review and reflect. And to review and reflect well, you need to have some quiet time. You need to think back to what has already happened or just happened, and you need to take some notes and take some lessons from that experience. So the best way to do this is straight after you finish, when everything's fresh in your mind. It's way more powerful and better to reflect soon after the experience is finished than to do it a week later when half the things or 2/3 of the things you've already forgotten. To reflect, you can ask yourself things like, what did I do well today? What didn't I do so well today? What do I need to keep working on and improving? And just those things can really help you understand yourself, which is so important to success, and understand your game, another really important part of being a successful player. So thinking about what worked well, what didn't work so well, what you need to keep working on, and then if you want to go into more depth, you can break little things down, like my head was falling over. When I got my head forward, I was able to access the ball better. When I was lower for my scoop shot, I was able to get under it. When I got my eyes in line, just picking up little things. And it's about being curious. At Cricket Mentoring, we talk about being curious, not judgmental. And what that means is just being curious around what works, what doesn't work, and not saying, oh, that was a good session or that was a bad session. Anytime you're working hard and you're thoughtful about it, you are getting better. Your body is getting trained, and then hopefully your mind is getting trained through the learning you have from reflecting on your session. So that's a really important part. And after you've reflected, you might then tweak your plan. It's unlikely you'll change your goals, which is step one, but you might tweak your plan and say, right, next session I want to do more of that, but that wasn't in the plan. So you change your plan based on the reflection and review. So I think that's the best way to go about training and maximizing your training is this 4-step process. Set your goals of where you want to be and what you want to do, what you want to achieve, create a plan, execute your plan, do the training, and then review and reflect. And if you do that, you're going to be utilizing the time, and those that utilize their time well are the ones that are going to go on and be the most successful. They're going to improve the fastest. You might have a teammate or a friend who's doing more training than you, but if they're not doing it well, if they're not training smart, and they're only training hard, they're not doing it with any purpose, they're not reflecting, they're getting tired halfway through a session because they're training too much, you're gonna advance much quicker than they do. So guys, I hope you found this video really engaging. I hope you've learned from it, and I hope you can implement some of the lessons that I've shared with you here today. Reflecting is such an important mental skill, not just in cricket, but in life. And if you want to improve your mental skills so that you can be the best cricketer you can be, and you can take those mental skills to other parts of your life, then we've created our online mental skills course, which is designed for cricketers who maybe aren't performing at their best right now, who are struggling with their nerves or with pressure, with any of those things that we all do struggle with. But the best players, the most successful players, have a framework around how they deal with those mental struggles. And if you're interested in learning what the best players do, then our mental skills course is for you. It's going to teach you how to stay calm under pressure. It's going to teach you how to have positive self-talk and really be kind to yourself, especially when things aren't going well, so that you can get out of those slumps quicker, get out of that bad form quicker. It's going to help you to turn that negative voice into something more positive, where you really do want to get out and play in those big moments, and plus a whole lot more. So if you want to be the best you can be, then you've got to be working on your mindset, and our mental skills course will help you with that. So click on the link below if you're ready to get started and take your mental skills and your game and your life to the next level.